meeting for September 13th, 2012 now come to order. Ms. McNamara, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Spangler?
Here.
Mr. Payne?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
Ms. Wright?
Here.
Ms. Ellis? Mr. Worthy? Mrs. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Huff?
Here.
Mrs. Thornton?
Here.
All right. Mr.
Amendments, and we ask that we vote on the amendments, then the full agenda. I have two amendments this evening. One, send information to you. It's number 15 on class size resolution. That is in your packet, as well as personnel recommendations. So I want to add a number 15. Also, I'd like to add an executive session, and that would be before personnel recommendations. I ask for those two amendments.
Do you have a motion to approve the amended agenda? Or do we have a motion to amend the agenda? Ms. Dr. Spangler?
And a second.
Ms. Davis? Second. Ms. Davis? All those in favor of amending the agenda? All right, now we will approve the agenda as amended. I have a motion, Mr. Payne and Ms. Wright. All those in favor of approving the agenda? It's unanimous. So we'll move down to silent meditation and Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us for a moment of silent meditation. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving to item A on the agenda, recognition of achievements and awards.
While we're waiting for Ms. Menez, I would just like to notice that I would like to welcome our scout troop here this evening. This is troop 372, sorry, a little dyslexic, I'm sorry. And Mr. Scales and gentlemen, welcome this evening as you observe a small slice of civics and government and how this works that obviously impacts not only our community but you individually. But welcome and thank you for sharing with us this evening, and I hope it does well.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, and members of the board. Tonight, I am pleased to recognize many outstanding individuals in the Clarke County School District. Honorees, when I call your name, please come forth, accept your certificate, and shake the board members' hands. And tonight, we will start with the 4-Star Employee Awards winners. And these are employees that were nominated by coworkers, parents, volunteers. Anyone in the community can nominate any Clarke County School District employee for these awards. And so I'll call their name, and then I will read their nomination, and then we will ask for that employee to come forward. So first is Debbie Crawford, and she's an accountant for grants in the board office in Finance and Business Services. And she was nominated for this award by her coworker, Jeannie Bradley. And here's what Ms. Bradley had to say. Debbie has worked with the Clarke County School District for 6 years in instructional services, accounts payable, and now is an accountant for finance and business services. I have worked with her for 3 years, and I have found her to be extremely professional and hardworking. She is always willing to lend a helping hand or to provide training to anyone who might need it. She does whatever is needed to meet the numerous deadlines assigned to her by the Clarke County School District and the various government entities that she deals with. Earlier this year, we were extremely shorthanded in our department due to several employees retiring. During this time, Debbie took on quite a few extra tasks without a single complaint. While I know she was overloaded, she still did whatever was needed to make sure everything was processed in a timely manner. Debbie is a rare find, and I am very proud and grateful that she is part of our department. Please come forth, Ms. Debbie Crawford.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Sounds very well done.
Thank you for all you do.
Great work.
Thanks, Debbie.
And next we'll recognize Michelle Kreitz, a fourth grade teacher from Fowler Drive Elementary School, and she was nominated by her co-teacher Shannon Goodrick. She said, "I've had the privilege of co-teaching with Michelle for 3 years. I was placed as the co-teacher in her classroom her first year at Fowler Drive Elementary, and she welcomed me with open arms. She treats me as an equal in her classroom, and I feel like we have developed a truly collaborative environment." The special education collaborative class brings many challenges with it, and Michelle meets them all with a positive attitude and a desire for all students to be successful. We share responsibility for all students in the classroom and strive to create a nurturing and safe environment for them to come to each day. A strong collaborative relationship is like a strong marriage. It takes respect for each other, hard work, and the ability to communicate well. I am proud to be a part of the collaborative relationship we have built. Congratulations. Did I say your last name? Okay, I want to make sure.
Keep up good work, Fowler.
Congratulations. Good job.
Great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you for what you do.
And next, Ian Meents, a field support technician at Gaines and other schools, and he was nominated for this award by Chad Galloway, a coworker. Ian Meents is, in a word, phenomenal. For the past few years, he has served the teacher at Gaines with unfathomable speed and efficiency. He understands that when our technology does not work properly, it makes our lives quite difficult. Whether it's a smart board that isn't working, a computer that isn't syncing, software that won't load, a cord that isn't long enough, or what have you, Ian is unbelievably fast at solving our problems. It is exceedingly rare that a help desk ticket goes to Ian and sits unresolved for more than 24 hours. Clarke County School District is famous for being ahead of the curve with respect to its technology use, but without our incredible technicians such as Ian laying the foundation and keeping us up and running, the technology would be pointless. Ian is both fast and friendly, and we are very lucky to have him serving Gaines. I'd love to see him get the recognition he deserves. And tonight he absolutely will.
Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Congratulations. Thanks for doing all that.
Thank you. Great job.
Congratulations.
Great job. Thank you.
And finally, for our 4-star awards program, we have Shay Rayberg, kindergarten teacher at Winterville Elementary School, and she was nominated for this award by her coworker Dawn Phillips. And here's what Ms. Phillips had to say. Ms. Rayberg creates a warm, loving, and creative classroom. She uses her unique creative talents to teach students how to think and express themselves in a creative manner. Her lessons are engaging because she makes the most boring topic fun through the use of hands-on materials and creative activities. Ms. Rayberg's students feel loved and accepted, thus creating a risk-free environment. Due to her nurturing and amazing lesson plans, her students leave kindergarten well prepared for first grade. When I think of the model kindergarten teacher, I think of Shay Rayberg. I am shocked that they have not added her picture to Webster Dictionary besides the term kindergarten teacher. She is truly a 4-star teacher helping to create 4-star students. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you for super. So much. Thank you.
Thanks for what you do.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
And finally tonight, we'd like to recognize Chase Street Elementary School. You may have heard that this week the school was named a 2012 National Blue Ribbon School by the U.S. Secretary of Education. So let's talk about what's behind that title and why they received this very prestigious award. So Chase received this highly prestigious award for exemplary improvement. In 3 grades and subject areas, for example, the school had 100% of its students meet or exceed state standards. The National Blue Ribbon School Award honors public and private elementary, middle, and high schools where students achieve at high levels or where the achievement gap is narrowing. Along with 219 public and 59 private schools, Chase will be honored at an award ceremony and conference November 12th and 13th in Washington, D.C. As an exemplary improving school, the school showed that it has made significant overall improvement within the past 5 years and has also shown significant improvement in subgroups. And tonight we have the chart up here just for you to glance at the growth over the past 5 years. In some areas, for example, in 5th grade math, that's a 66% growth. And you can see down the board in all of those 2012 columns, over 90%. So you can see in reading, language arts, and in math, over 90% and over every single grade. And subgroup achievement is evident as well. For example, at least 84% of all ethnic subgroups met and exceeded state math standards for the whole school, and at least 93% of all ethnic subgroups met or exceeded state reading and English language arts standards. For both students with limited English proficiency and those that are economically disadvantaged, 89% met or exceeded state standards in all 3 of the subject areas, and 72% of those with disabilities did the same. In fact, 100% of students with disabilities met or exceeded state language arts standards.
Good.
Tonight, to accept that award, we'd like to recognize Principal Adam Kurtz, Assistant Principal Arlen Hawley, and I believe we have a teacher with us here as well. Please come up. Tina Favors.
Thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Outstanding. Enjoyed hearing you on the radio today. Thank you. Well done. Well done. Well done. No, you didn't. It was great. Okay, congratulations. Good job. Congratulations.
Hey, Arlen. How are you? It's outstanding.
Thank you so much.
Probably one of her tears.
My baby. Thank you. That's so fantastic.
Yeah, amazing.
Again, on behalf of the Clarke County School District, congratulations to all of you. You represent your school district and community very well, and we commend you this evening. Thank you.
And if I can certainly comment to our 4-star winners. I mean, and that's what it's all about. Everyone just does their work and does it incredibly well and makes a difference for our children. It shows up in many different places. It showed up in masses with Chase, but it's showing up in every one of our schools because of your work. And for Chase, certainly, I believe this is the first ever Blue Ribbon School, National Blue Ribbon School in Clarke County Schools. And so, you know, they just exemplify their own work and I think represent the work that's happening across the county with their colleagues. And so it's a big night.
That's
Great.
fantastic.
Moving down to item B, minutes of the previous meeting. We have the minutes in your packet from the agenda approval meeting from August 2nd and the regular meeting from August 9th, 2012. Have a motion to approve the minutes. Mr. Payne, and a second by Ms. Davis. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving to item C, the superintendent's report. Dr. Lanu.
I do have a number of items this evening. I was quiet last week, so. But if I could show one, the billboards, do we have that? Do a little graphics. I'm really pleased. This is, we'll shrink it a little. Anissa had mentioned earlier in last month, I believe, about the billboards going up, that we've had companies or individuals who have supported our schools and said we need to let people know what we're doing. And this is the first rollout, but thanks to Anissa for starting that project. But I think this is the first one. Strong public school, strong community. Sort of tells in the backdrop our accomplishments over the last few years, what we've done, where we're going. I think it's a strong statement by our community that are willing to invest in getting the message out of the work we really do. And there's the first prototype. And Anissa, they will go up. Are they up or will they?
They will go up September 24th, and there will be 4 of them. And so for the next 6 months, we will have 4 billboards per month displayed in our
Right. So we have 4 billboards that'll run for 1 month, and there'll be another different 4, and that'll be for 6 months. But I think that's.
The one after this will be a partnership billboard with the University of Georgia to promote our professional development.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great sign that members of our community recognize the work we've done, and we appreciate their support for sure. The next item, and I've got it as the Milestone in History Commemorative Committee, and you have packets. If I could put those names up on the screen. I'm trying to use our screen a little bit. It hurts our neck a little bit, but I met with this group, and it was a heartfelt meeting for me, as we talk a lot about the integration of our schools and the times of that for our children, but we don't always mention, I think, the times it was for our adults and the times it was for our teachers. And so you have packets at your table to read through this history of how we mark this milestone, which has gone by. This was in 1966, so put it in perspective. But having the opportunity to meet with Mrs. Johnny Leigh Burks and Mrs. Betty Clyde Henderson Holston and Mrs. Scott, that committee, I met with them in person, and to read what it was like at that time. And also Mrs. Victoria Baker Stroud. They were the first African American teachers in Clarke County. They set a marker in our elementary schools, and it's I think we're just on this point that they need to be recognized, and we're working on that. But I certainly couldn't let this opportunity go by, knowing how it impacted just me, not even being connected as deeply into the history of Clarke County. But if you are, and you didn't know this, you need to know it now. And so please read that packet, and it's a conversation that we need to keep going and include that in our history of Clarke County. So I want to report that this evening. The next is Community Partners in Education. Anissa.
As you all may be aware, we've spent the last couple of months revamping our Community Partners in Education program. And I'll go ahead and let Mr. Hardaway hold up a poster. And this is just a draft poster. We're having these professionally printed for every single one of our schools that lists all of their community partners. And so this is one of the new ways that we're going to recognize and really cultivate those relationships. And these will be, again, they'll be professionally printed and hung in every school. And so what Community Partners is we've combined two of our programs. First, Community Partners, that was our employee discounts program, and two, Partners in Education, and those were the school level partners. And we put all of those under one umbrella called Community Partners in Education. And the goal of this program is to provide positive experiences for students and or faculty with the involvement of local businesses and nonprofit organizations. And partners must meet one of four criteria: that their activities seek to improve academic performance, expand career opportunities, enrich student experiences through cultural, extracurricular, and other opportunities, or provide incentives for teachers and or staff. And so my office has worked with the Office of Human Resources, specifically Eric Keese, in working with schools and having them identify these partners. And so first, we held a training last week and had all of the different school level contacts come. And we talked about what it means to be a partner. And the purpose of this program is to be inclusive. We want really to cultivate these relationships and know that these businesses and organizations are aware that we appreciate the time and the energy they put into our schools. And so all of these different contacts, the school level coordinators are making sure we have their contact information, and that was a great way for them to kind of reconnect. We will be able to provide all of those partners with one of our calendars, brochures, and also a decal with our new logo, the new Community Partners Education logo, not a school district logo. And so it's about this big, and they'll be able to hang those in their businesses and display that they support our school district. And also we will plan a recognition event in the spring at the Career Academy and bring all these partners together. And so this is just one way that we are reaching out and really cultivating those relationships in the community, and we just wanted you to be aware that that is happening, and it's already been a very positive experience. And we will also have a poster here in the main office of the school district that lists all of our partners, and what a powerful statement to have hundreds of names of businesses and organizations listed that they support the Clarke County School District.
And if I could add to that, it really is about trying to be much more strategic and deliberate about how you can be a partner. Being a partner, it doesn't mean that I donate money or goods. It could be I contribute something from my organization, I assist children. It can be in many, many different ways, but I think this is a really good way for us to structure, because sometimes businesses may not know how to get involved, and so it allows a way for us to cultivate partnerships that I think are there in thinking. It's just how you get that off the ground. So it's a really it's a grassroots movement for us to really put this together. And so far, we thanks to Denise, we've gotten really good response, and we're really pleased.
And probably the most powerful part of the training was just having all of those different school level contacts meet and brainstorm with each other. And there were so many great ideas that came out of there, things that you wouldn't have thought that could be partnership activities. And so I'm really excited to see where this grows.
Questions? Great. Thank you. Charter school amendment. I'm going to turn this over to Board Member Thornton.
As all of you know, that November is fast approaching, and the charter referendum is going to be on the ballot. And one thing, I guess I want to jump out the gate a little bit early on this, but Mr. Payne reminded me we don't want to get out so far that by the time November comes, people aren't going to remember what the issue is. And the other thing I thought about a committee, almost like we do the Spillage Committee, where we have community people who take the lead on an issue like spillage. And we thought, Burtis Downs, everybody's pretty much familiar with Burtis. He's almost been like a one-man show on this issue. I know he's met with Mr. Payne and Linda, and probably talked to some more board members. But I did call, I texted him today to see if there was a formalized group that was addressing this issue, and there isn't. He's doing this and gathering followers. He's like the Pied Piper as he goes, and he's just gathering followers as he goes. But as an elected official on the Clarke County School Board, this is an important issue. I don't think that I'm saying say no or vote no or whatever, but I think that it is our duty as board members to at least educate the community on both sides of the story. And I think Athens voters are pretty intelligent, and if you give them both sides of the story, I think they'll do what's right as far as voting is concerned. So one thing I was going to see, if the board would at least consider identifying 2 people in your district or 2 of your constituents that may want to work on this as a community issue to help educate folk. The other thing I was hoping that we would consider having a resolution from the board on this issue. There are other boards in Atlanta that have developed resolutions, and I think that would be a healthy thing for the Clarke County School Board. On October the 9th, there's going to be a community forum to address this issue. Burtis is organizing that. All of the elected officials are supposed to be invited. Mr. Payne, I believe, is going to be on that panel for discussion. So we need to not only support this event, but make sure we get people out who really may have legitimate questions and concerns about this issue. Again, I don't want to be, I think we just need to educate the community, and you can't educate the community if we're not educated. Right. So we need to make sure we have the facts right also. And this is something I think that even though we're representing 9 different districts, this is one issue I think we all could kind of rally around and build some support around. I think it's important, and anybody who cares about public education, I think they think it's important too. But the 2 things that I think that might help, or I would recommend or suggest, is one, if we could look at some of our constituents and identify 2 folk. Now, Berta said that there's no formal group, but if we get some names, I'm quite sure he will have no problem organizing them and getting them going. So we do have a virtual chair person for this. I've just volunteered him. And the other thing, if we would, I don't know what kind of language, maybe the superintendent or somebody could look to see what other languages boards are using for a resolution, and to support the October the 9th event. There's a lot of literature on the website. It's just getting it out to people. Maybe it's just a matter of getting people's emails and getting it out by technology. But I know Mr. Payne has been doing some things, and if you want to share, Mr. Payne, please do. I'm going to pass around an article I did for with my job around this issue, and this will hit primarily in rural communities. Because I kind of work in rural communities. But it talks about the referendum, and it just gives people some thoughts. It doesn't advocate, it doesn't but it makes you think. It's supposed to make you think, You might read between the lines and say, well, I know what she's trying to say, but it doesn't say that. And but I do think we should be more active on this, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Payne if he'd like to share something.
I would think that if you have questions about this, the Georgia School Board Association have a lot of literature that they will share with you if you would just go on your computer or your iPad and get their website, and you can find many articles that will support the defeating of this. Now Georgia School Board is for defeating.
Okay.
I mean, we're coming out front. It's not nothing that we're hiding behind. Sis Henry came out with an article many months ago on defeating this amendment, and many people. I think Rita had it right. There are a lot of people don't understand. They don't know what this legislation is all about, and we need to educate the people. And there are those who don't have papers, there are those who don't take papers, there are those who read just certain portion of papers. So we need to get the word out. People need to understand that this is a matter of life and death situation.
I wanted to add that I've been in an email group of the newly appointed chairman that you've talked about, and a lot of people that are asking me and wanting to know what are we going to do, or if we're going to make a resolution supporting or in what way we're doing it, especially with so many other school districts doing it. So are we considering having a vote that we would have a resolution opposing it, the charter, as a formal statement?
That's what's being discussed now, and I think it sounds like Ms. Thornton has come up with a suggestion of identifying 2 people within your district, consideration of resolution language, and notifying the public as well as the board of the October 9th event. I think maybe that is something we need to talk about and move, down the road. But trying to do that right now, I think, is a little ambitious, in my opinion.
I thought, since this was kind of, it's not brand new, but it's brand new that we've discussed it, I thought we need to be prepared for the agenda setting meeting in October.
Okay. I think that's
and
good.
that will give us a strong month to do what we need to do. But I didn't want to wait till October, and then we couldn't do anything until the second week, and then we're right at election time after that.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Go through the agenda setting process.
Okay. So we'll revisit this at the agenda setting meeting.
And what I'll do, if you already think about somebody that might want to help with this, or a group that might, just shoot me an email, because I think that's the way people are communicating now, texting and emails. So we can start gathering information now. We can also start gathering, like Mr. Payne said, the links and the places we can find information. Yeah. We can start. We don't have to wait for October to do that. We can start gathering information. But I think the process of what we're going to do, I think probably October would do it, because it shouldn't take no Well, wait a minute.
Can
now,
you
we
summarize,
do a
wait a minute, can you summarize what this group is going to do? Because that seems separate than us voting on a resolution,
You know what,
which
let me
is
say
separate than the
something-
October
Let me say
9.
something about the resolution. Now, we are going to run into a problem because if we don't have some samples at the first week in October, that means we're going to miss it almost for the second week.
Yeah.
So there does need to be
Yeah.
a draft of something.
Okay. Dr. Lanu,
And a suggestion, just like we take in all items as we build a tentative agenda, that we put together by policy with the president and the vice president, I would suggest that any items or suggestions go to them as we discuss those. And if there are resolutions or statements or any information that feels to be an action item, that's where it would go by policy, by our own policy.
Okay.
And then
So will we have a time?
what I suggest, what typically we have is people submit, like in-house, that people submit what they would like to have as an action item on the agenda.
Okay.
Board members, et cetera. So one suggestion, if there's a board member or two that feel that there is a resolution or there's a statement, they can certainly submit that to Mr. Worthy or to Terry's office, and we discuss that, and most time it goes on, the agenda, and then the board has to decide whether they want to put it on the agenda or not, or take it off, and then they can decide to vote on it. But I think that
Well,
would be
then that does go to Allison's question.
the question is we build the agenda, board members can submit items, and we consider those by policy through the president, the vice president, and myself when we meet prior as we build this, of this.
So that,
I want to be clear, we're talking about two different things.
Yeah, let's go back to the
One is
resolution.
I'm talking about the resolution.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the resolution.
And let's just,
Yeah, let's do the
that's all we're talking about. very
Yeah, let's do
quickly.
the resolution.
About how you get action items. If a
Right.
resolution is an action item,
It
that's
is.
how we do it.
and then if anybody is listening about you wanting to get a group of people together, they email Avita, or we
That'd
can
be
give
fine.
two people's name of
Yeah. Right.
constituents who have maybe come to us and said, what can I do to help?
Get that vote.
Yeah.
And then, so we can funnel that to you.
But now, I don't want to belabor this, but I want to make sure, if we go through the process that is the correct process that the superintendent has suggested, do we have enough time before November the 6th to get a resolution public out there?
If the timeline to do a resolution, if that's what this board chooses, is that the resolution should be in the hands of the board chair or Terry, who collects all those items, a draft resolution and a recommendation for this to put it on the possible agenda item, and then it comes to here, and then we decide whether we put it on or not, but the actual resolution is there.
Okay.
Okay?
October.
And
So that would have to be 7 days prior to
The meeting.
the meeting.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so if it's the first Thursday, back it up, it has to be to Terry by policy that Thursday before.
Yes.
Any recommendation or documentation that a board member wants to be considered to be placed on the agenda.
Okay.
One of the things that I'm finding as I travel, I'm talking to everybody and asking everybody to get informed, is that there are so many people who do not understand this charter school proposal that's going to be on the ballot. So we're going to have to make it our business to inform as many people as we can, and that's what I'm trying to do.
okay, well, let's move, is there any other issues in the superintendent's
2
report?
weeks to get
Okay.
it together.
All right.
So we should be straight if this happens, if everything goes without a glitch, we should be okay by the second week in October.
That'd be correct.
But it has to be to Terry a week before our consent agenda, so.
Yeah,
we have
so
2
that's
weeks.
September, 2 weeks. You
2
got
weeks. That's
September,
it.
whatever that is, that Thursday.
Okay.
But that's to
Okay.
just be on the
September
agenda.
27th.
That's to get it on the agenda.
That's
If
the
it doesn't do that, then the only way is to add it,
After.
and I would suggest that some things there should be in advance.
Yes.
People know they're gonna do it.
Okay, 2 weeks.
Okay, moving on to the report, item E, report of current committees. In your packet, you have the SPOS monthly reports as well as the financial reports.
I'll have those in the packet.
Yeah.
Financial reports are not going to be
Yeah.
available till October.
Yeah, let me explain that. We've been closing out the year, and it's just a lot of work, and CFO Larry Hamill's been working on that, so we're going to move those to you. We'll get those to you next month
Okay,
for approval.
okay.
All right. Do I have a motion to,
No,
No, don't
Yeah,
see that.
Okay.
Because they're not here.
and then there's no old business, so
No.
moving on.
GSBA report.
Okay, GSBA report.
Yes,
Excuse me.
Mr. President, Superintendent, and to the board, I have a report. I want to conclude the report that I started on the GSBA Risk Management Fund. I started, and I would like to, but I have an announcement here at the beginning. I would ask all those that are watching on television, please, ma'am, and please, sir, get your pen out, get your pad, because at the end of my presentation, I need you to write something down, so you be ready. Be ready. I want to continue where I left off, accident prevention. There are many ways school systems can reduce accidents. Plans, routes can be established that most of the bus turn right instead of left. Most of the accidents on bus routes happen because the bus drivers turning left. And I don't know where we are on that.
I don't know the answer to that. I'll get you that. I assume we're going to try and turn right most of the time.
Most of the time. This was one of the things that we had on the webinar about 2 months ago. Principal, teachers, and students should be aware of anything that will cause an accident. Uneven concrete, mold holes on the playground, wet floors, lights, and electrical equipment that goes on and on. School systems are more vigilant today than they were many months ago. Because of monthly webinars on safety by the Georgia School Board Association, there are less accidents. Employees have less time from work, hospital, and doctor bills are less. The bottom line, premiums are reduced. This is a good sign that we are on the right track. Most of all, we are simplifying our procedures, school system, as we should. I have my hand in my hand. I have it right here. Y'all have, many of you have not seen this. This is 90 pages of the Quality Basic Education Act. 90 pages. Once you read and familiarize yourself with this document, I know you hear me talking all the time that they're not funding education. You will know that they're not funding education because it's in here. This is the law that we're going by. This is QBE. But it haven't been funded and it have not been initiated properly. Every now and then, in the annals of history, a politician becomes a statesman. This is what happened with our state school superintendent, Dr. John Barge. He went against the Republican Party and the governor, Deal, and said, I will not support the charter school amendment. I'm going to support public education and our children. He is the best qualified state superintendent since Dr. Charles McDaniel over 20 years ago. I want all of you that have not thanked him, please do so. I'm hoping that all the board members have written him letters. I know I wrote one to him personally. Dr. Springler, she's going to give you, to those out there listening who do not have his address and fax number and email. She's going to give it to you now.
And Ms. Snelling has put it on the screen. Can our viewers see that?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
John Barge's mailing address is the Georgia Department of Education, 1670 Twin Towers East, 205 Jesse Hill Drive, Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30334.
I can say it now. I can say it now.
Okay. So also up there is the toll-free telephone number, the fax number, and his email address, which is statesuperintendent@doe.k12.ga.us. So that's complete contact information for Dr. Barge.
Thank you. I want everybody to understand the position this man is in. He is in an awkward position. This would not have happened if the legislator had took our recommendation many, many years ago. Once we got the legislature and the governor to pass the law where we elected all board members and they would appoint the superintendent, we went and tried to get the state school superintendent the same procedure. The state school board would be elected and they would appoint the superintendent. Then he would or she would not be Democrat or Republican. They would be individuals who would work solely for the interests of children and education. But this has not happened. This has not happened. So this is why I'm asking you to write him and thank him, because this man, he went out on a limb for education and children in the state of Georgia. Thank you.
We're now moving on to, there's no old business, so we're moving on to new business, down to the consent agenda.
Yeah. I recommend that we approve the consent agenda.
All right. We approved the consent agenda last week.
But approve the items on the consent agenda. How would that maybe be a little more clear?
That's a motion from Mr. Payne. Another second by Ms. Ellis. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. All right, now.
Number 11, this was pulled off the consent because it's a UGA. I think won't repeat what we went through last week. It's pretty complex, but this is to approve our grant application for the federal Race to the Top grant with technology with our partners.
Yeah, is it in the packet?
It was,
the grant itself? No, just the explanation. We are writing that grant that we talked about last week.
So I don't even, so the recommendation, I guess maybe I'm on the wrong packet.
the full.
It's number 6.
Number 6, yes.
Instead of,
okay.
for whatever reason.
Okay.
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 We have a motion from Mr. Payne.
Yes.
We have a second from Ms. Davis. All those in favor?
David.
Motion carries.
One abstention due to a conflict of interest.
They will hardly get their hand up before me on the grant.
Okay.
I am for grants.
That's right.
Yes, sir. All right.
So it's up in the consent.
Next was, I'll give this to the board.
There it
This
is.
was approval of travel. I believe at the last week, we talked about having individuals submit how much you think it would cost and build it from a zero-based budgeting perspective. And I think we got information out to you about roughly estimated costs for certain conferences that you would plan to attend. So I'm going to turn this over to.
So we talked about this last week to some extent, and then we had this additional annual conference cost estimates that was emailed to everyone. Now, if there's confusion about what to do in this in terms of what the costs are, we don't have to do this tonight. We can do this at the next board meeting if this doesn't make, if anybody has confusion about it. But what I would suggest that we do is we go from District 1 around to District 9, and individuals indicate the dollar amount that they are requesting for their budget, their travel budget for the year. And then we would vote on that as as the travel, and it's, like I said, it's travel is what we call it, but it also includes tuition and materials and that sort of thing for conferences. So, are there any questions about that? About that process?
I think the process is clear, but I'll have to tell you, I didn't read I don't remember seeing this.
This email.
It was attached to an email.
It was attached to something. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Right,
I
on Friday.
apologize.
Yeah.
It was sent out on the
Yeah, why don't we
7th.
do that?
The 7th?
I think
Okay.
I thought that might be okay. So why don't we submit in writing, and then we can have this
Great idea.
Okay.
as a item on
Okay.
the agenda for the next meeting. And
Yeah.
that will be more.
You know, if we can put it on the agenda development, but you're right, if everyone submits that, we'll compile them so everyone knows in advance.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Do I have just a quick clarification, an error on my calendar that we have a budget planning meeting on November 30th?
We moved it because it conflicts with GSBA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I must have just not
Yeah.
deleted it
Okay.
off here. That was my question, was about GSBA. Sorry, my apologies.
I just wanted to make sure that of my current travel budget, that Mr. Parks will be able to go to GSBA, that's covered.
Yes.
That would be, yes.
Good.
Man,
So I don't need to follow that up with anything?
No.
Okay.
I just have a question, and I guess my request should not depend on anybody else's budget. But one thing that you said last week, that you had planned to go to a few places this time. Denise?
I had thought about going to GSBA, but I looked at the agenda in the last week, and I'd be happy to stay here. Okay, that didn't sound nice. What I thought was going to happen there wasn't happening there, so happy to skip that and save the district some money.
Okay.
And I will just say that I'm looking into some things. I would like to see the board expand its horizon of what it is exposed to other than GSBA and NSBA. So I'm looking into some of those things that would sort of broaden the scope of board development.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. So we will table item 12 the next meeting.
So I guess we probably need a recommendation to table and bring it up for the next meeting.
So done.
So we have a recommendation to table item 12. We have a motion from Ms. Spangler. I have a second from Ms.
Moved by Ms. Davis, seconded by me, whatever.
Who seconded it?
I will.
So moved by Ms. Davis, seconded by Dr. Spangler. Those in favor?
Okay.
It's unanimous.
And next is to appoint the GSBA Legislative Liaison for 2013. I believe that was,
I'll volunteer to go.
so I'll turn that again over
Okay.
to the board
Do we have
president.
there's been a nomination?
No, there wasn't. I was.
Yeah, that's, I so move.
Okay. Moved, seconded by Ms. Williams, and the motion is to appoint Ms. Thornton as the GSBA Legislative Liaison for 2013. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Yeah, and as a district director, I have to be there anyway, so she is the representative from here, but I have to be there
You're the
because
director.
I've got 13 other schools that I have to report to.
All right, thank you for that clarification. All right,
And I'm going to turn you
okay.
to Beacon Award.
All right. We have item 14 is the GSBA nomination for the Beacon Award, and we have talked about doing this, and so we need to vote on this as a board before we can fill out the application. So, do we have a nomination, a motion from
Yes,
Payne and a second from Dr. Spangler? All those in favor?
Can I ask what the award, you're going to give the award or recommend the nomination of the award for?
For the
Athens Banner Herald.
Yes. And this, the reporter will have to be up there to receive the award in Atlanta.
Right.
It's very prestigious.
Do we have to do travel allocation funds for that? Just kidding, just kidding.
Okay. Then item 15.
Get him on GSBA.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Number 15 is, and my apologies, it's a little late, but we were just working with some of the programs with the State Department, and it's the resolution we had passed last spring, I'm bringing back to you, and the resolution doesn't change our class caps that we had passed earlier for the K-12. But it does give us some added flexibilities we learned from other districts. For example, around gifted, where usually it's APs at the high school, that they have a lower cap for AP classes, and we're saying we're putting them higher like regular classes. And this just allows us to get funding, and the same with our special ed classes. It just gives us a little bit more flexibility. It's not really going to change necessarily what we have now because we're in pretty good shape. But I think now we're looking to make sure we do get the funding that we can, and we're just following suit with a lot of districts. You will notice too that there are a couple of individual schools. We said we did a district class size waiver, but if we had several schools that were over, we would put them in. And at this point, we've got one student over at Cleveland, or a couple classes at Cleveland and Gaines. We're over a student at Biology 1 at Clarke Central, and we're over a bit in drama according to the caps. But if you look at all of the classes in our district, you know what I mean, that we raised our class caps, and we're only dealing with 5 or 6 classes, and as you know, those could change tomorrow.
Yes.
So I'm asking that we approve tonight this resolution, which keeps the same class caps for K through 12 and regular ed and English language learners, but it gives us flexibility in those other programs to maximize our funding. I recommend we approve this resolution.
We have a motion to approve the resolution.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Payne, do we have a second?
Yes.
Ms. Williams, all those in favor?
Gentlemen, it's already passed. I just want to make this comment. A lot of people don't know, but as we have just passed this class size, many of the school districts, they have 40 and 42 and 45 students in the classroom. Here in Georgia,
I would ask
we are blessed.
Yeah.
We are blessed. Truly blessed.
I would ask at this time, I recommend an executive session for the following reasons: acquisition, disposal, leasing, or appraisal of real estate or other property, appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, dismissal, or evaluation of employees, pending or potential litigation claims or administrative proceedings, or the settlement of such litigation claims or administrative proceedings.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent for an executive session. Do we have a motion? Ms. Davis, seconded by Dr. Spangler. All those in favor?
I guess.
Ms. Thornton?
I
Didn't see your hand.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
All right.